If you're just getting started in freelancing, one thing you may be considering is your brand and how that's going to affect your visibility as well as your privacy. And that's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Hey everyone, my name is Andy and welcome to today's video where we're going to be talking about making a personal brand to help with your freelancing career. When you start asking for work or handing out business cards, the first thing people are going to do is look you up online, and this is where having a brand becomes so important. When you have a portfolio website, a Twitter account, a LinkedIn account, a YouTube channel, having the same brand across all of these platforms helps clients know exactly who they're looking for and who they're dealing with. Creating a personal brand doesn't have to be that difficult. Use the same avatar across all platforms, use the same fonts if you can, the same color scheme if you can, the same header image if you can, and that's how you create the brand. If you look at companies like McDonald's or Facebook, everywhere you see their advertising, they have the exact same typography, they have the exact same color scheme, they have the exact same images, because that's their brand. It's easy to recognize. Of course, creating a brand isn't just about creating a couple of images and using certain fonts and using that everywhere. There's a lot more to it than that, but these are just the very basics to get started with building a personal brand. There's obviously a lot of difference between a weak brand and a strong brand, one that's instantly recognizable just by the color scheme alone. But personal brands are really important. If you Google my name, Andy Milne, right now, you're probably not going to find me first. You're going to probably find a very famous jazz musician, but for their privacy, I'm not going to name names. But if you Google my brand, Andy Milne IO, you're more likely to find me. And not just because of the IO suffix. Andy Milne IO is my brand. The IO suffix obviously helps with differentiating me between other Andy Milnes, but that's my brand. That's my handle on social media, that's my website. It's everything that's me with regards to freelancing, with regards to web development, with regards to everything tech. That's Andy Milne IO as a brand. And if you notice, across all of these platforms, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere, I use the same avatar, I use the same color schemes where available, and the same custom fonts where available. Obviously, some sites limit what you can and can't do with regards to customizing your profile. This isn't MySpace anymore. But my business card matches the color scheme and the fonts and the layouts of my website, because that's my brand. And if you do the same, you'll be more recognizable to customers, to clients, to anyone. One thing you might be considering is setting up a company to differentiate between the person and the brand. And while that's a good idea in theory, if you're just getting started out in freelancing, this is a bad move. Typically when people hire freelancers, it's because they want to deal with one person rather than one company. By marketing yourself as a company rather than as an individual, you're creating a false representation of yourself. You're creating false promises to potential clients. By presenting yourself as a company, as a client, I would think that you're going to charge more but get the work done a lot quicker and to a much higher standard. Whereas if I know I'm dealing with one person, I expect it to take as long as they say it will, and I expect it to cost a bit less than what I would pay a professional company to do it. But that's what freelancing is. In order to protect your personal identity and separate it from your brand, it may be worth having a separate account for everything to do with your freelancing career. If you already have social media accounts, and I'm assuming most of you do, make them private so that only friends and family and people you trust can access them and find out more about your personal life. But make a separate account just for business. This way, it's easier to separate the individual from the business, the individual from the developer, the individual from the brand, which is most important. When creating your brand, make sure you use your real name. You may be tempted to create an alias or a pen name in order to protect your identity. And again, in theory, this is a good idea. However, certain freelancing platforms require you to use your real name in order to validate who you are against your bank account. So unless your bank account has a false name, which is illegal, don't do it. So if these two don't match, you don't get paid. But personally, I think it's important to be genuine and be authentic, and most importantly, be yourself. It's better that way because customers and clients will trust someone who is honest. If you're going to lie about your name in order to protect your identity, it can create a bit of tension and a bit of unease, especially if they find out it's not your real name. They may understand the reasons behind it, but if you're using a false name, it can create distrust. By being authentic and being yourself and being genuine, that creates trust between you and your clients, and that makes everyone's life so much better. The world would be a better place if everyone was more honest. Actually building a good personal brand is more complicated and more involved than what I've been discussing in today's video, but I hope it's going to give you at least a pointer in the right direction to building a really good, solid, strong, and most importantly, authentic personal brand. I'll be discussing what goes into making a good, strong brand in another video another time. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please leave a like and subscribe. It will only encourage me to make more videos like this more often. Consider leaving a comment. I'd love to hear from you guys, find out how I can improve as a content creator and deliver more content that's more suitable and more useful for you. Check out my website, andymilne.io, and I'll see you next time.